Yo, I just had a friend drop off a caribou from Alaska. Quite the feat to get the whole thing home. They had boiled it and done a little bit of cleaning just to get it on the plane, but it's got quite a bit of junk still in there. They lost a nose piece. They did recover it, but this is a velvet bull, as you could probably tell, that they stripped. So the flies right now are just off the charts, trying to get to every last little bit of blood that's in that antler. So because I have a thing with too many flies, I'm gonna try and deal with this right now. So I'm gonna finish cleaning this skull without boiling it. I'm just gonna power wash what I can off, and then I'm gonna try and blow all the blood out of this antler. Now these antlers that don't have the velvet polished off, they're very, very porous. For right now, let's just see if we can get it clean and get rid of some of these flies. There's no stink. It has no odor whatsoever. They did a great job of keeping it nice and clean. You know the rules. Spray into every hole in every orifice. Now this particular skull had been boiled in Alaska. They boiled it to get rid of most of the junk, so it was plane friendly. So I'm just gonna take my power washer here. This is a commercial grade 1500 PSI washer, and I'm just gonna blow everything off. It doesn't look like there's much, but all that really tight stuff on the back of the skull, up underneath the back of the head, in the eye socket, it's all still there because it's very difficult to get out with just some tooling. So I'm gonna spray, 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 and pick it up here in a minute. Pretty much clean, so I'm going to take the next hour or so and I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean every inch of antler. You can see that they're still really flexy. Just the nature of a caribou being big. Isn't that crazy? That's antler, that's bone. Although the velvet is gone, there's lots of stuff on it. And just like painting, you wouldn't paint a greasy wall, you wouldn't paint a dusty wall or something with debris on it. You get it nice and smooth, sanded. Same story here. So I gotta just start in one place, finish, and don't forget where I've been. Here, I'm gonna remove that brain that shrunk up inside. Now, I washed off a lot of the gray matter, but there's a brain liner. I take my forceps in there, I grab it and then twist it. That is the key, and then pull that whole thing out. Now, I sprayed on that skull, I said in the beginning, for about an hour. It was probably closer to an hour and a half, and it felt like I was just stripping off a layer of like cellophane off the outside of that antler. I know it's just like a growth membrane or something on there, but it made the horns really, really porous, and they felt like they were prepped for whatever was the next step. Now, I don't really know if this piece here is important, but I took like a big Scotch-Brite pad and some Dawn dish soap, and I gave those antlers a real good scrubbing, partially to see if I had missed anything with the power washer, and then I could also kind of knock down any high sides if I actually lifted up a piece of bone or something there. But I got them all washed good and clean, and we're ready for the next step. This video is gonna run long because I really am taking you step by step through something I have never ever done before. This part I have. It's already been boiled, so I really don't like reboiling stuff. It's just not my favorite thing, but I gotta get rid of some grease and I gotta do a little whitening. So I set this down in the pot so I can see how much antler is gonna go under the solution. Once I have a rough idea of that, I pull it out, and then I gotta wrap all of the antler that would be underneath the Whitebone peroxide mix, which essentially is 1 gallon of peroxide with however much water will fit in your pot. That's just the easiest new rule. I'm just gonna go with it from this point forward. Put 1 gallon of peroxide in whatever amount of water you're gonna boil with. That skull will come white, I guarantee it. So I wrap it up, set it down in the pot, bring it to a boil, let it do its thing, and then pull it out, rinse it clean, and we're gonna put it in front of a fan to dry. I have also got in the habit of taking things like this while they're drying and spraying the antler, skull, whatever, with just some standard bug spray or fly spray. It really just helps the flies to not even land on it. There's no place for them to go. It dries, you don't even know it's there. Fast forward 24 hours, nice and dry, and I'm going to remove the clamp that was holding the nose in place and the band that was holding it nice and tight together. Typically, it will dry and firm up like a rock. I would imagine, come here, come. Have you guys been missing Mr. Beans? Beans, say what's up. Hey, camera's there. Give me a look. Say what's up. What's up? Okay, come on. I'd imagine from the thumbnail of the video, you could see that this is going to be a velvet caribou. I need to slow down and think about my words before I say them. So this thing is all cleaned up now. I got rid of 90% of the oil. What happens when you boil something, you let it dry, and you don't get all the oil out the first time, it's going to go right into the bone. It's going to be very difficult to get out. So I have taken this skull as far as I can take it chemically. I soaked it in acetone for just about 3 days, and then I tried the super clean thing, and it's just too much chemical. Once you boil, reboil, it's too much. You hear lots of things on the internet about boiling damages bone. That's not true. Overboiling damages bone, for sure. So I've got the skull good and white. I'm happy with the skull. I've got the nose back on. It was broken a couple of places. It's gonna look just fine on the wall. Sorry, it's a little tough to manage. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take and I'm gonna wrap up the skull as good as I can, because the first thing in the preparation for the fake velvet essentially is to paint the antlers, and I don't want to get anything on this skull. It's gonna take forever. We'll do it in fast forward, then I'll show you some close-ups as we go. So first things first, let's get this skull covered up so we can get to painting. This kit comes from a company called Scenes in Nature by Woodland. I imagine Woodland's the parent company or something. I don't know. I called up there and asked about this product, and essentially these people do like scenes for like model trains and real elaborate, home scenes, and they do everything from like moss, and I'm sure I'm cutting them short, but they do very elaborate scenes. One of the gentlemen that work for them now, I believe, was a taxidermist in a previous life, and they saw a market for it. I didn't even know there was a home kit for putting velvet on. I only knew of one company that did it. It's very expensive, it's very well done, and you have to ship it off, and it's crazy. So anyway, essentially, you put a coat of paint on that gives it sort of an antler color. You get this static king device, which we'll look at when it's time to do it. You get the velvet kit. This one's for a caribou. I bought one for an elk so I could test all this on a shed to see how it goes. There's a little mini vac for cleanup. There's the vac box. This is the paint, which we're going to do right now, and then this is the fiber tack. So essentially I'm going to brush this on, and I'm going to take this velvet stuff, I'm gonna put it on there, and then the static is gonna kind of lift it erect like velvet would be. So just trying to give you the process. I'm gonna put this all aside, break out this paint, and get everything colored. I'm just gonna do that for tonight, let it dry real good, and then we'll address it tomorrow. So let's get to painting. I can't even get in the packet. All right, y'all, I know it's a lot of talking, so I'm gonna hurry things up a bit. This paint is designed to go on the antler and just be a good color base. So I'm gonna go through and fast forward here, just paint everything. It adheres really well to that porous horn, and it's designed to work together with this tack or the glue that's gonna go on top. Yo, it's been roughly 24 hours. This is crazy dry. I'm just antsy to get started on this thing. Give me an idea of what I gotta do. I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna do a little bit of it, and then I'm gonna pull it in, then get some good looks. What I feel like I gotta do first is the inside, because I don't know how hardy that stuff is once it's glued in place. So I think I'm gonna start on this beam right here. The Static King gets a little grounding. I think it's a ground that you put on there. Okay, this has got 3 pictures. Paint it, glue it, shake that stuff on there. Let's do it. Can you see the 2 different colors? Man, I just can't imagine that's enough. They say it is. Must go a really long way. So I strongly suggest you read the instructions or watch maybe this video or the manufacturer's video. But what you do now is put the tack on, which is glue, looks and smells quite a bit like Elmer's glue. And then you take and put the long fiber on first. I didn't know which one was the long one, only because I didn't prep myself well enough. I just grabbed the one that I thought matched the best. You shake it on out of the Static King, and it's so bitchin' how it goes on. What you want to do is put on the long one first, and while the glue is still tacky, you take and you put the short fiber on over the top. It gives you highlights and lowlights, and it fills in real nice. I'm going to show you what I did, and then I'm going to show you how I fixed it. Okay, it's incredible. I love it. I think it's freaking fantastic. So I don't know how long it takes to set up. It doesn't say, unless I'm missing it somewhere, how long it takes to set up. But I want to do as much as I can of the inside of this thing so I can check it in the morning. I know you're supposed to put that little grounding piece on the skull, but I gotta cover the skull. So I filled this twice, did the whole inside. It looks great. You're supposed to go over it with another color, which I'll do, but I scooped up everything that was on the table and almost filled it. So I see now how it goes really, really far. I really struggled to film this. It was not easy for me because I kept going in front of the camera, but here's a fast look at painting it and then kind of an up close look at that Static King pulling those fibers out and adhering them to the glue. It's really, really a neat process. I think the dry time is close to 24 hours. I think the adhere time is close to like maybe 15 minutes. So you got to operate kind of quick, let it dry really well, and then apply in other areas. This is not the easiest thing to start on because inside of those paddles is next to impossible. You can't get the Static King in there, so you're kind of at the mercy of the shape of the antler. I would imagine if it was on a small skull cap like a deer, you could make it absolutely perfect. But for my first go, I'm absolutely happy with what we got. There's just quite a bit of learning curve that came with the first one, and I can't tell you how appreciative I am that Zach just let me do this on his Caribou. Just a couple of more quick looks at how many different pieces I had to do this antler in. I have no complaints. It blended really well, surprisingly well. The process is great. I want to take an outside look now and kind of show you what everything looks like all together, and then you be the judge. Tell me what you think, and is it worth doing for yourself? It looks amazing. As good as the one you would send out. Must be the same technology with the static pulling to the fibers. Twice I was like, man, it's not working real good right here. I didn't have that ground on the antler. It's really important that this ground piece gets clipped onto the antler or the skull or something, and as you hold that unit out, you're not really shaking product out as much as that static is drawing it out and poking it into that FiberTech glue. This side is already considerably dry, and I was worried about touching it and having it just go flat. Not even a little bit. I'm gonna let it dry overnight because I don't want to mess it up. I'm super impressed. That is really, really cool. It does dry clear, satin clear. It says right on the bottle, clear matte finish. So that paint gives it an undercoat, so you can obviously, and then this gives it all the texture and velvet, and I'm super stoked. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm just gonna leave it alone for tonight. I'll address it tomorrow. I have enough for sure to do the back side of that antler, and then whatever touch-up I need to do. So thanks for watching. I cannot wait to get this off, get a bracket on it, get it on the wall, and see if it looks in the sunlight as good as I think it looks sitting here now. Looking at it right now, I can see a little bit of sheen from the glue underneath this. But if that goes matte, it's just a fuzzy horn bull. Rad. This thing looks beautiful, and definitely looks beautiful at a distance. I am gonna do this again. I will do this whole process over and over and over. I'm gonna do a film on something that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable. I am gonna do an elk shed. I'm gonna velvet one up just to learn a little bit more. But there it is, the fake velvet Caribou Euro. Looks cool. I think it'll look great on the wall for the client, and if he doesn't like it, I'm pretty sure I can take the power washer to it and redo it. Anyway, thank you so much, like always, for watching. Don't be afraid to try something new, and until next time, be kind to one another.